Alright guys, we are back for another Dokkan battle video. So we can talk a little bit about the part 2 LR because we got kind of like a good like theory sort of thing. And then we've also got what seems to be the potential start date for kind of like the part 2 stuff, and could be the banner as well. Which, I mean, I'll just spoil quickly, is going to be the 12th. The 12th does feel early to me, I guess, but, I mean, banners usually are kind of like every 2 weeks, but I was actually thinking it was going to be on this week right here. So we'll see. We'll see how it's going to look. Yeah, I guess that does, the 12th does make sense, right? Because it's basically 2 weeks to the 12th, and then 2 weeks, well, no. Then it would be 3 weeks to the next banner, because the next Dokkan Fest is probably on the 3rd. So, yeah, we'll see. Looks like the 12th, but I was thinking this week. We'll see what it ends up being. Now, what could the Part 2 LR be? So, we've got Golden Frieza and Gogeta. Remember, they were not really enemies in this, as strange as it sounds to say, but they were both fighting the common opponent, BROLY. Now, in many Tanabatas, right, we have had... right, like, this is a good display right here, you know, title screens and stuff, and Tanabatas have usually been pretty, like, cut and dry. So, 2021, we had Gogeta versus Janemba, right? 2022, it was Vegeta and Trunks versus Fusion Zamasu. 2023 is a little different, right? Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and then we were expecting Baby, and then they dropped Omega Shenron on us, who, funny enough, is pretty solid right now. He's solid. Carnival Omega. It's actually like a reasonable character. I mean, it depends on the fight, but there's a lot of very difficult fights right now. That could be attack debuffed. And, you know, LR Carnival Omega can put in some work there. So Omega was part 2 there. And then 2024, it was UI Goku and Jiren. So it would stand to reason here that we could be looking at a Broly. Now, it's Super Saiyan Broly who fights both of these characters, right? You know, and then obviously once Broly goes full power, that's when Gogeta goes blue, right? But Super Saiyan Broly is the one that fights both of these characters. I do not think they would drop another Super Saiyan Broly so quick. It's funny because the idea of a Wrath Broly, which I've got pulled up right here, the idea of this being the LR I do like, because Wrath Broly has had such limited representation in, like, old Dragon Ball games. This character is not exactly, like, very heavily used, right? So, like, having him, you know, finally get an LR, I felt like would work pretty good. Like, that would actually be fire. Damn it. I pulled this up for a reason, and I can't remember because it took too long to load. What was I pulling that up for? Shit. I lost it. Whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty down with Broly potentially getting the Part 2 LR. But we do have this, which is interesting. So, Blizzard, right? Remember, that's kind of like the Broly movie theme. We know how many, like, Legends reveals have we seen, and then that Blizzard theme starts playing. It's like, oh, you know, Blue Gogeta's coming, you know, the gods, like, you know, something like that is coming. This is going to start when the celebration begins, and this is only going till the 12th, which, again, would kind of signify that's the day we're looking for, and that could be when we could see the Part 2 LR drop as well. Which, by the way, also, the LR, I'm going to expect it's a Carnival LR, but keep in mind that we, you know, have already had, like, they turned Golden Week, which typically is a dual Dokkan Fest, and then Part 2 is a Yellow Coin LR. They turn that into a Carnival LR. So I do think the possibility exists that the Part 2 here could just be a Yellow Coin LR, but it seems as though Dokkan's, you know, kind of like budget, their ambition, a lot of different stuff has kind of gone up. So probably is going to be a Carnival that we're going to see in Part 2. Remember, funny enough, you could probably make the case that Yellow Coin LRs actually do have, like, better leader skills than Carnival LRs now, because the Yellow Coin LR is 2 categories, 200%, pretty good. Whereas, you know, just one category for 220%, I mean, if it's something like Accelerated Battle, sure, that's great, right? But when it's something like Universe 6, it's not really too good. By the way, this is one of those things where Dokkan is not very good at kind of keeping their ducks in a row. Because right here, this is the global data download, is what we're looking at right here, right? The Proton's global data download thread. So if we go all the way back to what we were just looking at, right? They just put right in there, boom, the ending of Blizzard is on the 12th. Well, JP tried to hide it because Blizzard is going until October 30th of 2026 on JP. As Proton says, a placeholder. But then, oopsie, we forgot to do that on global too. Come on. Fellas, let's run a tighter ship here, Amatsu. Come on, champ. Like it's good. Oh, placeholder. Yeah, nice. And they forgot to do it on global. Okay, whatever. So yeah, Wrath BROLY would be pretty sick. If it's not Wrath BROLY, honestly, I'm not really too sure. Because it could be anything. It probably wouldn't be one of the major Namek characters. I feel like if they're gonna do Namek, it's probably gonna be like Goku and Frieza. Like, I don't think they just randomly drop like Namek Super Saiyan Goku, right? I don't think that like Kid Buu just by himself would randomly be part 2 right here. I don't know. I would hope it's geared more towards movie heroes and movie bosses, because that's kind of like the team we're setting up. And that's the thing about Wrath BROLY too, is this guy is movie bosses, so he'd buff them, and he's super bosses as well. So, like, this guy could actually be a little bit interesting in terms of buffing, like, major teams right now. But, like, you know, we've already had, like, a bunch of Brolys in a short period of time. That's why I pulled this up earlier. I was going to talk about the Brolys and how many Brolys we've gotten recently. You know, they could take a little bit of a break from him, but, I mean, we'll see. BROLY is kind of like, you know, a villain character they could use that is just a Saiyan, right? Like, the one thing I'm surprised is how infrequently Dokkan has gone to Majin Vegeta, right? You'd think that they would have pressed that Majin Vegeta button a lot more, considering he's like, oh, like a big time villain. You know, they need to get some villains out. Majin Vegeta would be perfect for that, and he would still be a Saiyan, right? A Super Saiyan. So, all right, there's that. Now we could see Orange Piccolo. Now I've said this. I mean, although I guess things are different now that it might not just be static like Broly movie, like movie hero and movie bosses. Maybe they go in an entirely different direction. I was thinking that these boys right here weren't going to ease this celebration, but I mean, if they drop a, you know, standalone Orange Piccolo in part 2, which we do still need, I can't wait. Remember, there is like, oh, well, we do have an Orange Piccolo, it transforms and stuff like that. Yeah, sure. Maybe I want to put Orange Piccolo on my fucking profile pic. Like, on my data page, I want Orange Piccolo on that, right? Like, we'd need a turn 1 Orange Piccolo in order to do that. So they could drop that. I suppose they could do tag Gammas. Remember, this is Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, like, as a character. Well, but then they're an exchange, too. So it's funny, they could release 2 new named versions. They could release a Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 card, right? Which, I mean, I guess technically the TUR of them is, right? Just Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. They could release some, you know, an LR of that name, and they could also do a tag version of them as well, right? Like, tag Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, I think, would be really quite fun. It would be a superhero buff, though, which isn't really... Yeah, I guess the only thing about the Gammas is where are we running them exactly? I don't know. I mean, I see that they're on Tao's team. You know, they're on, like, Hit's team. They're on a few teams, but I think Gammas maybe for a different time would probably be good. And I saw this idea floating around. I saw Minato mentioning this. Like a Vegito Blue and Trunks kind of, like, potential tag character, right? Because it does kind of go, like, from Vegito Blue to Trunks to kind of finish off the future Trunks arc. Um, I mean, I guess sure. Like if it was a turn one blue Vegito, that would be very good. Because I mean, it is crazy that now every single version of Gogeta has battle motions, right? Like they've really gone crazy with Gogeta. Whereas Blue Vegito doesn't have battle motions, and Base Vegito also doesn't have battle motions, right? And remember, I mean, Base Vegito, he's in the Buu Saga and the Future Saga. So, there, I mean, I would be pretty, this would be cool. The only thing about it, though, I mean, this might shock some people, but, like, even I'm like, okay, like, we have done every single fusion, right? So, like, it would be okay if we did jump to something else. And that I sort of have that feeling about Broly too, where it's just like Broly was on 9th anniversary, and then we had the whole worldwide dedicated to Broly. Like I think maybe just kind of like spreading some of this out could be good. But then again, like this is the only version of this guy in game. I'd love to get a new version of him in game. So a lot of different options we potentially could see, chat. I mean, they could go way out of left field too. They haven't done that historically for Tanabata, but I mean, it is important to mention that this isn't like gonna have to drop that Tanabata name, like me even saying it pretty soon, because this is actually the Transcendent Dokkan campaign, is what we're doing here. Transcendent. So, let me know what you guys think. Part 2 LR. I would probably lean more towards Broly right now. Because I'm not really even sure what the other alternative would be, what the direction they'd go in. So I would say Broly is the most likely, but especially, I mean, if Blizzard is going away, I believe the title screen is going away as well on this date here, September 12th. That could very well mean that the Part 2 LR is not Broly. So we'll see what's going to happen. Let me know what you guys think. I'll catch y'all next time.